everyone, and welcome to the Dream Team web series. I'm so excited to introduce Anne Dorgan, who is here to speak to us today about entrepreneurship and scaling up. Anne, for the last 20 years, has worked as a strategic advisor, executive coach, facilitator, and leader in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Hi, Anne.
Hi, how you doing, Natasha?
Great. Thank you for being part of this masterclass and serving this community of entrepreneurs who have a desire to be successful.
You're really welcome, and it's very, very cool what you're doing, so congratulations.
Thanks. So, Anne, you are currently the CEO at Gumball Enterprises. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I have been working in the field of leadership development for, as you said, 20 years, and working with some of the coolest, fastest growing companies around. Few of them, I guess, that you may know are Simple Bank, that is an online banking company, Juno Therapeutics, PopCap Games. These are three examples of folks that we're working with who have scaled up really fast. Were acquired or sold their companies. That happens to be our target customer, those who are growing fast, doubling in size, doubling in people, usually disruptors in their industry, and are really needing to turbocharge their leadership team. So that is really exciting for us. We've worked with the bigger companies like General Electric and Amazon and Google and Boeing. Over here I'm in Seattle, so those are some familiar brands for us. However, I'm really finding that since Seattle is growing, our company is really finding that the scaling up, not startup, but the scaling up companies are attracting themselves to Seattle, and we're able to help. So being CEO is interesting. I began as a practitioner and high-level contributor to various companies. What I found is that the difference between being an executive coach to companies versus a CEO of a company is very different. It's like we have the Seahawks here, and it's like being Russell Wilson versus Pete Carroll. So Pete Carroll is the head coach of the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson is the quarterback. And sometimes clients will say, hey, I want Russell Wilson to tell me how he handled this play. And I'll say, okay, well, if you know Russell Wilson, go ahead and find a mentor. Find another CEO who's been in your shoes, and they can tell you how to deal with the sacks and the runs and the long pass, whatever it is that's specific to the CEO. However, what we do is more like a Pete Carroll position, which is we have to understand the whole franchise, we have to understand offense and defense, we have to care about all the players, while at the same time we're also focusing on that team of leaders who are really making the difference and the big decisions on the field. So it's been really cool to go from being on the sideline to also being on the field and learning a lot as CEO.
I know, and then you have both perspectives, which is amazing, and it really helps.
It does. I don't think being Pete Carroll, I don't think you have to be a football quarterback in order to really grow a team, grow a business. I don't think you have to be a player on the field, but it is surely helpful for sure to understand what it feels like to get, sacked, but in certain ways. But I don't think it's absolutely essential, because there's the talent that someone like Pete Carroll brings to the whole franchise, and that's very different than just one player's strategy.
Yeah. So what is the difference between, I know there's a lot of confusion with entrepreneurs and when it comes to what's the difference between startup and scaling up? Can you go into that?
That's a great question. I think that it's important to really understand there's a different maturation phase for businesses. So everyone starts up at some point. So a startup is a great idea, a great product, maybe even a service that is finally funded. So you're starting up, you're in the seed money process. You have angel investors, maybe you have seed money, but it's a proof of concept phase. So people have to believe in you. You have to have a certain level of sales, certain level, as I said, proof of concept. So that's really where maybe there's only one founder and a couple other people making it happen, usually pretty small, and you're pitching to VCs, equity firms are looking at you, all of that good stuff. So it's very beginning. So if you think about growing a tree, it's the seed, and it's the ground that it's being planted in. And then, you think about it, you can easily think about it in terms of you have a great something, and then you need cash which is the fertilizer, to help it grow. Scaling up is really, you're beyond your Series A, Series B, even maybe further where you're looking to go public or someone's looking to buy you. Maybe you're bought and you just now have a huge infusion of cash. You already have a team. Usually a team of leaders are already established. And everything starts to focus on people and execution. So if you think of startup as cash and great product, and then to some degree execution, but when you're growing in size, when you're doubling the people, you have to really pay attention to how you are growing the people, how you're hiring the people, how are you cultivating the culture in order for it to be sustainable. So the people side of the house and the execution become really essential, in addition to the money and the strategy.
Yes. And I feel like when you're scaling up, you have to step up your game when it comes to your leadership skills and your capabilities. How does that work? How do you scale that up?
Good question. So some scaling up organizations do well because they realize that they'll need help. Some organizations will hire people like me to help them accelerate, develop interpersonal communications, a lot of EQ development. I like to say it's better to be proactive in that startup and scale up phase than reactive and end up paying lawyers. I'd rather companies pay people like us than have to pay lawyers to get them out of hot water. So better to be very proactive. So that's one way, is realize that scaling up will require, everybody now who runs a successful business knows that lifelong learning and coaching are really helpful to success. So that's one way. The other way is to remember that if you're growing fast, your founders may not be the right leaders for the future. So a great developer of a great product like a software app does not necessarily make a great CEO. And so being very rigorous around talent, skills for the future, not for the past, is really essential. So being humble enough, altruistic, caring more about the success of your baby than the success of yourself is really essential in that phase and that transition from startup to scaling up. Make sense?
Getting outside of yourself and just realizing, hey, I may not know everything. So having the opportunity to hire the appropriate individuals to lead and guide your company in the forward momentum direction.
Yeah. And another thing I think that people who are building businesses seem to go, oh yeah, and that's very helpful, is to understand the difference between a lifestyle business and a build and sell business. So if you love what you do and it's going to be a lifestyle, like coaching, this is a lifestyle business for me. I'm not going to build it and then sell it to Nordstrom. It's not that kind of business. It's family, it's culture, long-term. However, there are businesses that are build and sell. You have a great product, Nordstrom might love it. It's some online retail company and they go, yeah, I'll buy that. So if we're more conscious about what type of company it is, we have that foresight as to, is it something you're going to grow slow and steady and organically for a lifetime because you love it? And it doesn't mean that has to stay small, because it can get very, very big.
Yeah.
There are great consulting firms that are very big, Accenture, etc., and yet they're not out to make a buck really fast by building and selling fast. And so sometimes when you're scaling, to know and understand that can be helpful.
Yes. So is there a huge difference when it comes to rapid scaling and like something that's slowly growing? Like, how do you know the difference, and how does an entrepreneur who's sitting there is like, how do they address that?
Well, usually venture capitalists are going to invest something that's going to grow fast and make lots of money fast. So even a biotech company, for example, who sees a very future positive potential drug, if it's going to change the world quickly, it's usually going to get money fast at backing it up. So that's when you better put your, speedboat suit on versus your tugboat and yacht. What was your question? Sorry. I'm thinking so fast.
No, it's okay.
We only have 20 minutes.
No, as an entrepreneur, like even seeing what the difference is between a rapid scale versus a slow scale, like something that happens kind of more organically, and how would you approach that differently?
Well, I think that if you've decided it's a lifestyle business that you don't want investors and to give away equity, that's a huge part of it. It's like, hey, no, you like owning it. You're patient. It's a lifestyle. It's going to be around forever. It'll be steady. It's going to make you a living. It's going to make all your employees a living. It provides a great service. Then I consider that bootstrapping and somewhat organic. I think the key is that there's a difference between giving away equity for cash. Usually those who give you cash are expecting you to grow fast and make them a return. And that's really up to you as a CEO and an entrepreneur, is to decide what path you want to go. Kickstarter, angel, seed money. That doesn't have to be a giveaway. That's something that usually is going to be more organic and not quite as fast, because you don't have the gasoline or the fertilizer behind it.
Exactly.
In the same way.
So in your business, I would love to understand, because I think a lot of people also wonder, because there's all these coaches and mentors out there. Like, what is the difference between coaching and then mentoring?
Yeah, I think that's really important when a company is buying a service around executive coaching, mentoring. The easiest way to describe it is, if you can think of an agenda, and you're either pushing your agenda on people, or you're pulling an agenda out of people. And so advising, mentoring, training, those are all things, or directing, those are all things that get pushed on a person. So you think in a company, the director is telling you what to do, telling you how to do it. A mentor is telling you how to do it. So again, getting back to my analogy of Russell Wilson, it's like, hey, CEO, this is how I do it. This is how I run that play. This is how I run that pass. This is how I think you should do that. So it's a real push. It's pushing my agenda on someone. A coach's job is to build capacity within a person to think for themselves, to buy in for themselves, to develop different skills of critical thinking for themselves, so that they become much more capable of doing and performing in their own way. So it's not that one or the other is better. It's important to know the difference and what you're paying for and buying for. Coaching has proven to be exceptional when wanting to develop talent and build capacity in your talent. And it's important because then you are building capacity for your bench, so that when someone leaves the company, that bench is ready to go and become a leader more quickly. If someone is used to being told what to do and they're good at it, that's a great soldier. Got to get that done. However, it doesn't leave them as confident or as capable to lead on their own or take initiative on their own. So coaching is different in that way. The skill set is different. So as a coach, I'm asking a lot of questions: who, what, where, when, why, and how, the 5 W's. Good coaches are asking open-ended questions and then asking close-ended questions in order to seal the deal or hold them accountable to something in action. We also listen more, hopefully. Right now I'm talking, so I'm not coaching, obviously. But if a person is doing more than 50% of the talking, then chances are they're advising, mentoring, training, directing, etc. Chances are they're not coaching. Listening and active listening is really important there.
Is that why you got into coaching? Is that why this is like your premier offering? I do believe in coaching. I have a real estate coach as well. I think as a human being, for personal and business growth and development, coaching is the way to go, just because, as you said, it does help you to build skill sets instead of just listening to directive and just executing.
And so say that, ask the question again.
No, I was like, is that why, is that the reason why is it your premier offering at Gumball? Like, is this why you guys got into coaching and developing this, just building a company based around that, just helping people develop their skills because you wanted to build the leaders. And I think that's how, at the end of the day, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I think to a great degree in my case, it's a bit self-serving because I'm playing to my strengths as far as this company goes, and I'm trying to play to all of our coaches' strengths as well, which is maximizing people's talent. So maximizing others is what coaching is all about. And I love doing that. I love being a part of a generative conversation that enables leaders especially to make wiser choices, to go from being really strong at what they do to to being superb. And being able to when it comes down to it, it's the decision-making process in a company that is the most valuable. And, we're deciding all the time, every day. And coaching enables leaders to make better, wiser decisions at the end of the day because they have more tools. They have a breadth of awareness. Self-awareness and EQ is a huge essential for being a great leader. If you're creating a startup and you have a great product that is very technical, like a piece of software or hardware, that will not get you to success. It's going to be your EQ. EQ is really 80% of your success when it comes to scaling. So there's another difference between starting and scaling. You've got weighted focus on the product, and then to scale, you need weighted focus on the emotional intelligence, the behavioral side of things. I love the work because my background is applied behavioral science. And so all leadership development is behavioral change. So, if you have a strength, Natasha, I'm going to want your strength, which is a behavior of yours, to accelerate and expand. So do more of that. Do more of that strength. While at the same time, whatever bad habits you might have, which is also behavior, those bad habits need to be replaced with better habits, which is better behavior. So all leadership development, whether it's inside you or between two team members or a team or a company, is all about how are we going to help that entity, that group, that individual move in a better set of behaviors to make positive change.
So do you feel like it's like a premier resource to entrepreneurs as they're scaling, is to basically get the advice necessary in order to scale correctly? Because it could be something that could be a tremendous failure if not done right.
What I noticed with scaling up, folks, they don't know what they don't know. Leaders, the number one thing out of MIT research around leadership is leaders are concerned and stay up at night because they do not know what they don't know, and they want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And asking questions is a skill that is fundamental to coaching, and it's through powerful questions that we're able to find out what we don't know. And so if people can start a company or scale up a company with the humility enough to own that they don't know what they don't know, and there are people out there that can help them discover what they need to know, they will do much better than those that believe that they should know, or they believe they do know.
Yes.
And we all know those type of people. And it doesn't fare well for very long.
It definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
What would be your number one advice to every entrepreneur building a business to execute their vision?
Be humble enough and altruistic enough to learn constantly, to ask for help, and to put people in the right roles, even if that means that you have to step down or aside or move to the board, in order for the organization to win versus you as a sole founder or independent person thinks they need to win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, putting your business first above yourself and your feelings and your emotion and pride. It's ego and pride falls right into that. So I couldn't agree with you more, and I love that tidbit. So today, there's going to be a free offering for joining. Anne has been so gracious enough to not only offer a consultation with one of the coaches on her staff. That would be great. She's also going to be providing a resource guide, which we will have on the site. I'm so uber ecstatic about this. So, Anne, would you like to just provide a little bit more detail so our audience is more clear?
Sure. We have a resource page that will support you with a ton of links, a ton of tools, a small toolkit for scaling up. It will help you understand the difference between starting up and scaling up, as well as some links, more information, and articles around the importance of coaching and how coaching can support you in your efforts to start and scale up your business.
Woo! So this is going to be really resourceful for any of you who have companies that are just growing and just don't know which direction or what the next steps are. Please take advantage of this. And just thank you for joining us today. Please visit gumballenterprises.com. It will be on the video and also an email. So just click, check it out, follow up with Anne. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or Anne. I will definitely get you in touch with her, and also just visit the website, because you are the only one who can create your vision to be successful. So why not start and do that today? Thank you, Anne, for talking with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Natasha.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.